Hi, welcome to this Excel tutorial video, and today I'm going to do a video on formatting. Standard formatting, text and font formatting, and using the format painter. I'm going to show you kind of how easy it is to make your data a little bit more presentable. So on screen I've got just some text, and this is what I'm going to be changing in order to kind of make it look a little bit better. So what in the home toolbar here, we've got lots of formatting options, all of them in little subsections. So you've got the font here, you've got alignment, you've got numbers, styles, you can see, and each of these little sections here has a little arrow at the bottom right that if you click it, it'll take you to more options. So if we click on these things, it takes you to extra options. Now, what you might notice here, we've got this format cells, this alignment tab. If I click on font, we've got this format cells, but the font tab is highlighted. So you don't need to click into each of these individually. When you've got it open, you can flick between these and make your changes as you want to. We've got all sorts of buttons in the toolbar, and if I'm unsure about what a button does, if I hover over it, it tells me that's the bold button, and that's the italic button, and that's the underline button. And if I click on the drop down arrow next to underline, I've got a couple of extra options to have single or double underline. So let's make this header bold. So if I highlight my 5 cells, I click on B, it makes it bold. Also, if I hover over it, it tells me that Control and B would do the same thing. So if I go down here and I want to make my customers bold, if I do Control and B, it makes it bold. And you can see this bold button is now active. If I click on a cell that doesn't have bold, the bold button is not active, and if I click on it, it is active. And if I want to take bold off, I click on the same button again, it removes whatever formatting it is. So, as well as that, maybe I want to change the header font colour. So I'm going to highlight that again. Now, we've got 2 colours here. The fill colour will change the colour of the cell, and the font colour will change the colour of the font. So let us change this. We've got, by default, this is red and this is yellow, but I've got a little drop down arrow there. So I'll click on that, and if I hover over these colours, it tells me what colour it is. So if I hover over that, it tells me that it's orange with an accent 2. If I hover over this, I think this is just green, and then light green. So maybe I want some sort of blue. Is there a navy blue? Dark blue, that'll do. So I click on that as dark blue. I've got customers here, and I'm going to highlight those. And actually, I want to change the background. So I'm going to hover over this fill, and I'm going to click this, and I'll make it blue. And while I've got that highlighted, while I've made those changes, now the default of each of these is changed from yellow and red to be light blue and dark blue. So I can now click on here, and I can just click on that, and it will apply the last selected colour. And if I want to change it, well, that's fine, I can change it. And if I put a fill in, I don't want it, you've got this option here of no fill, and that will just take the colour off. Now you don't have that on font. On the font, you've got an option of automatic, and that will just take it back to the default colour, which in this case is black. Now, when you make changes to something like this, okay, so I'm going to change this, yes, and I'm going to make it yellow, and I'm going to make it the font green, and I'm going to make it bold. Now, if I go down to this one, I'm going to make it yellow and green and bold. Now that's kind of fine because they are simple, it's just 3 clicks. However, if I highlight the cell that has got the formatting that I want, and I want to apply it to other cells, well, I've got this little paintbrush here, and that's the format painter. So I start with the cell that's got the formatting that I'm interested in, click on format painter, and then if I click on a different cell, it will apply the formatting of the original cell to the new cell. And I can do it here, and I can highlight all of those cells. So the format painter is really, really good to move accepted kind of formatting around. So I can click on this and click elsewhere, and it will make it bold and blue. And then I'm sure I'll undo that. I could use the undo button, but I'll do that. So the last thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to make this a little bit wider here, on this formatting video, is we're going to add borders to our cells. So if I just click on this cell here, there's this option here that's all about borders. And right now, the bottom border is the default in here. If I click on that, and if I click away, you'll see ever so slightly, you can see that's got a little border, a little darker border. And if I click on the drop down, I've got all sorts of options. So I can say I want everything, I want all of it as a border. You can see now it's got a little square. I want it to be thick borders. You can see ever so slightly darker. Maybe you want it to be looking like a total. So maybe you want it to be single top and double bottom. So now you can see it's got single top and double bottom. It's worth noting the fact that I selected single top and double bottom, it didn't take away the left and right border, it just changed the application for the top and bottom borders. And if I say actually I don't want any borders, you've got an option of no borders here, and that takes everything off. So I'm going to highlight all of my data here. I'm going to make it all borders, which is all fine. Then I'm going to highlight it all again and just change it to be thick outside borders. So now you can see it's ever so slightly thicker. I'm going to highlight here and do the same. And I'm going to highlight here and do the same. And now that makes it look that little bit more like a table with specific headers and specific custom list. Actually, I'll show you one more thing. So as well as the formatting, you can change the font. I've got all sorts of fonts here. And if I were to maybe just copy that and move it here, if I were to hover over a font, it changes the font. Can you see on the right hand side, you can see what it's going to look like. So if I just go down to this, you can see how it changes. So that's quite good having that. Before you've selected it, it kind of tells you what it's going to look like. Also, if you change the height here, as you hover over it, it says, oh, this is how big it's going to look. Before you've selected anything, it gives you a preview of how big it's going to look. Now with that highlighted, I've got these options here of making a font bigger or making it smaller. And so I can do this, or I can do this, and quickly, nice and quickly, make that font bigger. And I can highlight this and say I want it to be bigger just by clicking on that. That's the end of this video. I hope you find it helpful. I hope there's something new on there. Any feedback is appreciated, so please leave any comments. Thanks a lot for your time. See you next time.